Good. I felt like it was kind of a long time coming. A lot of times coming close, but most importantly, we got the win. So that's what I'm happy about. They cut the game pretty close in the end, but we pulled it out. So that's what matters.
Welcome in, Hawks fans. Your boy Bryce Lewis back at it again for another Believe in Hawks episode. The Atlanta Hawks clinch a play-in spot with a victory tonight over the Detroit Pistons, 121-113, as they get a crucial win, go back to 2 games now as the current winning streak. And like I said, the Atlanta Hawks will play one more game than 82. Before we get into that, guys, make sure you subscribe, listen to on YouTube. If you're listening to audio, leave a review on the podcast so more Hawks fans can catch this podcast on their suggestions, browse, whatever, bring all the Hawks fans to the pod so we can talk Hawks basketball. But like I said, going into it for real, the Hawks, like I said, got a win over Detroit, closer than what people expected, a little more uncomfortable than what people expected, but got the win nonetheless. Jalen Johnson, milestone tonight, first career triple-double. He has a second game back from an ankle injury, seemed to be playing at a high level. First game, you can see the rust a little bit, but obviously you saw second game, he clearly seems like he is locked in and ready to go and ready to play some of his best basketball to finish out this season. Jonte had another good game as well. And this game was kind of interesting. Hawks didn't really play that well offensively to begin the game. They got good looks. It was one of those, it's that typical game that you saw against Detroit where you could tell it was like, okay, we know we're better than these guys. And so you wonder if they were kind of just, we're just going to get some shots up, get a couple of buckets. They'll probably fold. This will be easy night. Pistons did not do that. Got to give a shout out to Malachi Flynn. He had 50 points tonight, man. A guy who, listen, I always say in the league, man, there are hoopers out there, man. They just don't get opportunities. And Flynn may have earned him some money tonight from some team, if that's not Detroit, scoring 50 tonight. Looks smooth, good jumper. A lot of play with a lot of energy. And that's one thing a lot of the Pistons players didn't play with tonight. I felt like it was energy. And Malachi Flynn did. And now he caused the Hawks a lot of problems. So the Hawks had to, go out throughout this game, even after getting a good lead in the third quarter, had to come back in the fourth and really nail this game down for them to get the victory. But make some crucial baskets. But luckily, again, it was pretty much a two-man band for the Pistons tonight offensively. Pretty much everybody else outside of that was non-existent. So, like I said, not maybe as comfortable as you would like it to be, but at the end of the day, you still did get the win, and that's the most important thing realistically right now for the team. So, really good, like I said, win tonight for the Hawks, especially going ahead and clinching that play-in spot, going ahead and solidifying your spot in the play-in, knowing, okay, we know we have more to come after the season. This isn't just we're pretty much done after this. So that's always, I think that's always a big thing, realistically. So, like I said, really good that they were able to get this win tonight for sure. But nonetheless, we got to go into individual stats, see how all the players did tonight as well. Starting with Jalen Johnson, like I said, 28, 14, 11, monster game from him. Jalen Johnson, we've talked about it before on the pod. His evolution, his development has been big for this team. He's really played really good basketball. And, obviously he's had some injuries. He had the forearm, he had the ankle, then the ankle again. And, that's obviously unfortunate because he's ineligible to win most improved player because of that. But at the same time, he came out tonight, did what he had to do. And this Jalen Johnson that we saw tonight is what I think the Hawks project for him long-term. A guy who can get triple doubles, can lead breaks, can make great passes, can score when needed. And he's very active on the boards with his athleticism. And I think tonight was just an all-around showing of that. I feel like there's been games throughout this season where you'll kind of see the Jalen Johnson show. You'll kind of see all of his skills presented, and you'll kind of be like, man, so this is the player that he can become on a consistent basis potentially. So really good performance from him tonight, man. Just really, like I said, was all over the court and really just did what he needed to do. He played well, and that's ultimately, I think, what was the big thing moving forward for this team. And like I said, you obviously want your young guys, especially with him. His development was one of the biggest points of this year. Okay, obviously, he's depending his development can somewhat dictate what our future is as an organization and as a team. And so Jalen Johnson, like I said, making the strides he's had, improving his 3-point percentage like he's had, showing the passing ability, improving his inside touch, things of that nature has really helped him and really served him well for the Hawks right now. But also, DeAndre Hunter had a big night tonight, 26 points for him. Didn't have his best game against Chicago last couple of games, but came back tonight playing really, really well. DeAndre Hunter, he'll be key if the Hawks want to continue to make some noise in the play-in, giving this type of performance tonight, showing off the mid-range, good cross, good spin fadeaway jumpers, getting to his patented shots. And, he's a guy that, people are going to be up and down on DeAndre Hunter. That's just what it's going to be with him. He'll have some down games. It happens. Every player has one. But he'll have some games like tonight where it's like, wow, I mean, he really played well. I can't say much about his game tonight that was negative. And that's what I think we've seen more of DeAndre Hunter this season up to this point. Has just been you've seen, especially since coming back from that injury. I think you kind of saw it a little bit before the injury, but I think after the injury, we've really seen that DeAndre Hunter that is like, you know what, playing like that, I can't be mad at moving him. Like, you have some people who will always be like, move Hunter, like move him, like do not keep this man. And that's just how people are going to feel. People sometimes make their judgments on a player and just say, hey, all to me he's doing is improving his trade value, and I still want him gone. And that's just how some people feel about it. That's just as simple as it gets. That's how it goes sometimes. But tonight, like I said, while he's on this Hawks team, like I said, him playing the way he played, was really good. And like I said, it's something that helps with the Hawks right now to just help carry the offensive load. Because tonight was really a big night for that because you got 3 guys with 20-plus points. And the third guy tonight was DeJounte Murray. He had 24 and 11 tonight. Obviously, sometimes Murray doesn't have the most. He's definitely a guy, now that I think about it, he's not a guy who's going to have the best field goal percentage. He's not going to shoot the ball always the most efficient, but he'll end up with still 20 points in the game. I mean, that may be who he is as a player. But overall, I mean, it feels like sometimes when we need him to step up, he's able to step up. And I think that to me is kind of the big thing. It's just him stepping up into those situations and giving us those types of performances that are needed from him in the grand scheme of things. So really, really good from him tonight to get that type of performance out of him. Bogey tonight really didn't have a great game. 2 of 10 from 3 tonight. Offensively was not on it tonight. Especially it's not the worst, but obviously the last few games, Bogey I think has really played well offensively, and obviously I've noticed that the defensive improvement he has also made, and tonight he was kind of missed a couple of shots that he usually would make, and like I said, players have those kind of nights, man. It's part of the game. You can't be perfect 24/7, but overall, like I said, it was good for them to get this victory tonight, and good for them to still, even with Bogey not having, like I said, one of his best performances, still get a good win and just continue to move forward and chug forward. I think Clint Capella tonight with 11 and 16 big boards. He actually had the highest plus minus on the team today when he played. He pretty much dominated his matchup against Duren and whoever the Pistons threw out in the front court. It's funny because it was a funny interaction on Twitter I saw about Capella, and I know Capella missed a bunny in this game, and I know he's missed bunnies in the last game, and I know, and I've been on record to be frustrated with it, and I've said, yeah, Capella's probably the person I move, and I don't feel like he's the greatest fit for the Quinn system, but at the same time, like I said, the one thing about Clint Capella is you cannot take away from what he actually does well, which is rebound the basketball. He can make you one of the better rebounding teams in the league. And rebounding is important, especially when you go against smaller teams. Like I said, that's the Hawks' advantage they have against teams like Boston. Said they can out rebound Boston because they have a guy who is the best rebounder on both sides is Clint Capella. Obviously when he goes against teams like Milwaukee and them, it's a little neutralized because obviously he's going against teams just as big as him or the Sixers, and he's going against guys bigger than him like Embiid or Joker. But, in matchups like this tonight, he was able to kind of show you why, he still can be effective. And he's actually played well, as much as some people may not want to believe it. Clint Capella has played well in the last few games. I mean, he's pretty much in terms of what we want from Clint Capella, he's done it. Like, it's not like he has not done it. He's literally done what you need from him for the most part. He's done it well. And I think that's been big for him, continuing his growth, obviously. And just his continued improvement as a guy in this system, just trying to make it work with what he has. Obviously it's not the prettiest thing offensively, and we know that about him. We know his game offensively is not pretty. He will miss things. He will fumble the ball. He is not the most nimble guy in terms of like fluidity offensively. But when it comes to defense and it comes to rebounding, he's still one of the best in the business. And he showed it again tonight. And I can't hate him for that. And all appreciation and love to Clint Capella tonight. But about the interaction I was telling you about before I move on, it was just people debating it. I all about just, I want Capella off my team. Oh, he's actually been one of the best Hawks in the last few games. Like, I know that sometimes we focus in on the botched layups and the botched dunks, but he does do good things. Sometimes with players, you got to take the negative with the good. You can't always have the good. There's going to be negatives with players. I think sometimes we expect a player to be all positive and no negative, and that's never going to be the case. So you just hope the negatives don't hurt you to the point where you can't win games, right? But like I said, he had a good game tonight. And then let me talk about Kobe Buffkin too. Kobe tonight showed a little bit of the bag tonight, couple of mid-range, turnaround, mid-range, step back, mid-range, hit a 3 tonight. Kobe Buffkin giving you 9 points tonight. Really good to see from him as he continues to get his legs back under him after he was out for about 3-4 weeks with an injury. Coming back tonight, playing well, playing some good ball. A guy who, again, needs to take advantage of these minutes, take advantage of these reps that he's getting as the backup point guard, because we don't know what the rotation is going to be like if Trae Young comes back this season. And all he could do is lose every appearance, every minute as a chance to impress Quinn Snyder and show him, regardless of Trae comes back or DeJounte or whoever the full backcourt is here, that I deserve to get some type of run, especially even with the playoffs coming up, just in terms of someone who's a good perimeter defender as well, as he is the best perimeter defender out of the three guys, DeJounte, Trae, and then Kobe. So, I think for him, he just has to continue to work on his game, continue to do his thing. I think for the most part, from obviously we may have wanted more from him on the main roster this season, but I think Kobe Buffkin has done a lot of good things well. And I think that he has continued to just, continue to grind, continue to work, and you're seeing it pay off. And, you're hoping for the best for him in terms of what the future is. Because like I said, the Hawks have to make some interesting decisions, not just, yeah, this offseason, but for years to come too, is he a part of that plan? And as you have this question about Trae and DeJounte, he is a guy who you drafted with a lottery pick and could be the replacement for one of the two of them, realistically. So something that they obviously have to keep in mind, and when they're thinking about the team and what this team's going to look like in a couple of years, and things of that nature. So I think that overall is going to be the big thing. But tonight, like I said, he showed some good stuff tonight. Good bag tonight from him, and just continuing to play as well as he could, and just in his role coming off the bench. But overall tonight, team shot 54% from the field. They've been really good 3-point wise this game, 34%, so a little bit chilled out tonight, but not bad. Had more turnovers than you wanted, kind of played careless at time, but they did have 36 assists, very high assist number tonight. So they were moving the ball tonight still, and getting good looks off of that. Won the rebounding battle, won the block battle tonight. And like I said, just pretty much did what they need to do to get this win tonight over the Detroit Pistons, team that, with the record you have in Detroit, you're probably ready to, pack it in for the season maybe. But you got a couple of guys, like I said, Flynn was not packing it up. He was playing. He was balling. He was competing at the highest level, and he played well. You know, so that's really good for those guys. But I think it is time to shift the conversation to big topics on Atlanta Hawks, just Atlanta Hawks fandom, Atlanta Hawks social. So, I haven't really been involved in too many debates, conversations, but I see them. Obviously, the main debate is the trade DeJounte debate. Articles being released. Oh, Hawks are now 12-8 now without Trae Young. Does that mean Trae Young was the problem? Should they move off Trae Young with DeJounte Murray? Does this mean these two don't work? They did not have a great record before this. Da, 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 da. But then you've also seen, we've had the Quinn arguments all year. We've also had, just like I said, Clint Capella, like I said, we have had a lot of different debates on Hawks social about the team and things like that. And one thing I always say about situations about a team when we have these discussions is it's really more complicated than sometimes what we say. We think we have all the answers, but we really don't. I don't have all the answers. All we could do is just make an opinion based off what we see, what we think is going on, and continue to make strides off of that. I mean, because obviously I don't want to go on social and seeing Hawks fans arguing with each other and just about the team. Because at the end of the day, we all want the team to be good. It's not like this is like, oh, he wants the team to be good and he wants the team to be bad. You got some guys who have just fully said DeJounte Murray is the man. Get Trae out of here. You have some people who still are like, Trae Young does not deserve this disrespect. He has revitalized this franchise. Y'all just want to give him up like he's nothing. It's a whole thing, and so I'll just go ahead and give some thoughts on that and everything. I mean, obviously I've talked about it before here on the pod, but I mean, realistically, I've always been a guy who, I try to look at, okay, what is working now that wasn't working when Trae and DeJounte was playing, right? Biggest issue I still contend with this team is roster construction, realistically, because if they have certain injuries to certain positions, now this team has no depth. They could have injuries to guards, and they have plenty of guards. But if they have an injury to a big or they have an injury to a forward, you're limited again. You're limited with what you have. And I think that has impacted, the team at times. Right now is, you're kind of in your best constructionary period because you've had Vic Krejci came on, and he's a versatile guy who can guard multiple positions. And that's something that I've mentioned before with this roster is that, that's why Jalen was so important in his development because he can guard multiple positions. Because, realistically, last year, you didn't really have a lot of guys who guard multiple positions. Everybody was kind of like a one position, maybe two position defender. And so the problem is that if you have to guard outside of that, you struggle. And then with what they had out there, you're putting out their bogey Trae, DeJounte. No one can really set and hold the perimeter. Then you got sometimes Bay out there who's playing a lot of minutes. He's not a great defender, and so you got Jalen who's trying to grow. That's putting a lot of pressure on Clint Capella to hold up. It like all these things contributed to why the defense was so bad. And I think the one thing you've seen since Trae went out is that there's been a bit more physicality defensively. I think guys are really getting into guys sometimes to help with the defensive process. Obviously, I can sit here and say, yes, DeJounte has benefited from guarding and getting back to his natural position, which is his point guard position in that regard. And Bogey, who's someone who we thought struggled defensively a lot, he's playing better defense now. It's something he's been working on. Quinn has mentioned that before. He's worked on that, trying to get better at that, trying to improve that. And, this season has been a lot about developing good habits, trying to figure out what works, trying to figure out what's the best way for everybody to play. I felt like when this team started the season, they were definitely a 3-point shooting, let's see what happens kind of team, and then hopefully get enough stops. But then I also feel like that now as the season has developed, you've kind of seen guys kind of get back to DeJounte the mid-range, Hunter the mid-range, Kobe the mid-range, because that's a shot that they're really good at, and you can't just make 3-point shooters or straight to the rim. And, I think that their shot profile has improved in that regard. Defensively, like I said, with the physicality increase, I think you've also just seen, the fact, like I said, Krejci's played a big part in that, and it just gives them more versatility defensively. And also, I feel like too, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't have that offensive, firepower, so you have to play defense. Because I said the biggest issue is that a lot of the Hawks' best players are some of the worst offensive players. So obviously, if they're playing, yeah, the defense should be better, but the offense may not be as good. So you've been trying to find that balance and that equilibrium between the two. So it's like, oh, it still works out, even though someone's hurt, or even though we lost offense, we still have enough defense. Because people forget when Jalen was out, I mean, pretty much when they had all those injuries, your three main guys who could score the ball was Hunter, Murray, and Bogey. And then you just had to hope you got enough from everybody else, but everybody else had to also do their job defensively to give them a chance. And I always say, too, Garrison Matthews wasn't playing like this when Trey was playing. Vic Krejci wasn't playing when Trey was playing. Kobe, was playing. Like there's three players who are either impacting the game more or playing that weren't playing when Trey was playing. So, I mean, you have no idea what this team would look like if we still kept those guys in the rotation and Trey was playing. And then Trey, I listened to his pod yesterday. He was talking about, like, yeah, he wants to get back, he wants to play, but he also wants to try to continue what they've built. Because one thing I think people think that Trey is going to do is hunt for assists and try to, go back to his game. And listen, as a star player, every star has tendencies that we may not be in love with. Listen, at the end of the day, James Harden was one of the best ISO players of the game, but there have been moments when he was out, especially when he played with Chris Paul, and the offense moved better when he was in the game, and that's just how it goes. But it doesn't mean that you're going to start winning championships all of a sudden because of it. But I think, like I've said multiple times, I think Trae Young has bought in to what Quinn wants to do. So I don't even think this is a matter of, oh, he's not bought in, he's not committed, he's not any of that. I think it's one of those things that, he wants to, continue to have that ball movement. Because, I mean, this is the first time in his career he's been able to kind of sit back and, just watch. Because, sometimes he'll see it in games, but, being able to see it for a long stretch like this could be beneficial for him. Just to be like, man, they're really playing well, playing with great energy. When I get back, I want us to play exactly like this, and then me just enhance it. It's almost like you say it with the Hawks. If the Hawks were able to keep that offensive rhythm that they had with Trey, but then keep the same defense they had, they'd be one of the best teams in the league, legitimately. And so, listen, we don't know when Trey is going to get back, if he's going to even get back this season, because we don't know what's going to happen when the play-in comes around. And we don't know what's going to happen with the Hawks when all that happens. But I do think that, you do sit there and you do ask these questions. And I think that, I just don't think he's going to come in here and just start saying, I'm going to start doing this way after seeing what has gave his team success for the last month and a half while he's been hurt. I just don't see that. I could be wrong. Listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And like I said, coaches have acknowledged, people have acknowledged they have to make a decision about DeJounte and Trey and that future. And I could definitely, and I know for a fact, with the way they're playing now, I know for a fact Quinn wants Trey to come back because he just needs one more look. Okay, we're playing this way right now, and Trey comes back. Can we maintain this going into the postseason? And can we have success? Because if that happens, that may keep DeJounte in Atlanta, potentially. But if he doesn't get that chance to come back this season, now it's just a matter of, okay, well, if we really need to make this decision before next season begins, how do we feel and what do we want to do? So everybody's going to have their debates. Everybody's going to have their questions. Everybody's going to wonder what's going to happen, who's going to be moved, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. That's just part of the process in this business of the NBA. But at the end of the day, I think in the meantime, I think the Hawks have a great opportunity to, like I said, build, develop that, which is what they've been doing through G League, through on the roster. You've seen the improvements multiple players have made. And you hope that still also translates to Trae Young. People were saying before he got hurt, he was having one of the best seasons of his career, but yet he's the problem. So that's why it's like people have all these debates on social about it and argue about it for hours. And it's funny, but at the same time, it's like, listen, I just want us to be successful. I want the team to be successful. I would love for Trey to stay. I know what he means to the city. He's the face of this franchise. And so all we can hope for is that, if he is able to come back, we're able to see continued success. Hawks are playing really good basketball right now, and that's what we want to continue to see. And right now, they have a 3-game set coming up. Heat, Minnesota, Denver. Not in any particular order. I think it's like the other way around, actually, first. But, they have to go out there and they have to try to win those games. They're fighting to get that 9th spot over Chicago. They're fighting for something right now. They're playing for something. They're still playing meaningful basketball games. So, for them, they got to go out there and they got to do it. Right now, they're currently tied with Chicago record-wise. Now you just got to wait for Chicago to play. And then, which they play tomorrow, I believe. Actually, they don't play again until Friday. Wolves play again Friday against the Knicks. So the Knicks win. And the Hawks are able to hang on against the Mavericks tomorrow. Wow. I'm actually confused now. Hold on a second. Okay, never mind. Definitely was wrong. Timberwolves are next Friday. Don't know why I thought they were this Friday. So they got Dallas tomorrow, right? Back to back, right? They got to fly out to Dallas, play them. Luka, right? You win that game, boom. Chicago loses on Friday. You're the 9th seed. And now can host a home playoff game. So we'll have to see what happens. But like I said, guys, this is your Believe in Hawks podcast. Boy Bryce Lewis. Don't forget to follow me. Don't forget to leave a review on the podcast. Show your boys some love. I appreciate you guys. See you next time.